to another Token Punch Lunch. Well, we are headed into the Christmas season. There's going to be a little bit of a break next time. We're still going to be back in the next couple of weeks with another episode, but we do have some pretty good segments lined up for you this week. I don't really think that there is any real heavy reliance upon the Christmas season, but I want to definitely mention that. Merry Christmas to you and yours. I hope that all of you have a wonderful time with your family and friends and whatever else you want to throw in there. I just really hope that this season is filled with joy and happiness for you and yours. So Merry Christmas from me and from all of our segment contributors here at Token Punch Lunch. And yeah, with that having been said, let's go ahead and get into this episode. A lot of good stuff lined up for you, so let's hit it. Let's go!
Hi, this is Ambie from Boardgame Blitz, and my husband and I recently cleaned up our games on our shelves and purged a lot of our games. As you play a lot more board games and acquire more board games, you eventually run out of space on your shelves. So there are a couple solutions to this. One, you can buy new shelves, get more space, or you can get rid of some of games. So we choose to try to keep the space limited and get rid of games. There are a couple of different ways you can get rid of games. You can sell them, you can give them away to different charities or give them away to friends, or you can do math trades. If you trade games, you don't actually get rid of games though, so because you're trading for another game. So that doesn't actually solve the whole space issue. But what we've been doing for the last couple of years is that my husband holds a game day, a mini convention for his birthday, which is in December. And during that convention, we have a lot of games that we raffle off. And these are games that we no longer want to keep. They're not necessarily bad games. A lot of the games are just games that we don't play very often and we no longer feel the need to own. So then our friends and other people who come to my husband's birthday party can leave with a game or two, and everyone's happy. Also, over the years, I've gotten better at letting go and getting rid of games. At first, I liked hoarding games, and it's really hard for me to part with something that I own. I would attach a sentimental value to the games and say, oh, but we really love this game and we're going to play it again sometime. But in the last couple of years, I've gotten better at realistically answering the question, are we ever going to play this? Or when are we going to play this? And if the answer is no, we're not going to play this again, then we really don't need it. So for us, if we're not going to be playing a game, then we try not to own it unless it's like something really special, like a collector game or something. But most games for us, we want to own them to play them. So that's how we cull our collection. In previous years, I felt really bad about getting rid of some games and vetoed some selections. But this year, we managed to pick a lot of games that were culling from our collection. And I actually felt good about getting rid of them because it makes our collection cleaner and our shelves were overflowing. So it was getting cluttered. And now every game fits on our shelves. Yes, there's an exit game there, but those are one-time only play, so we don't have it on the shelf right now. But it would fit if we wanted to put it on the shelf. So it's nice just having clean shelves and having every game here. We looked through all of our games, and they're all games that we love and want to keep. So that's a nice feeling. So everyone has different rules for how many games they have in their collection and whether they need to cull games or not. But let me know if you have any tips or tricks for how to choose what games to cull in your collection. Bye!
Hello, fellow Token Punch Lunchers. This is Paweł from Geek Factor from Poland speaking. Now, I don't know if this is going to be the last Token Punch Lunch before Christmas, but this is definitely going to be my last Token Punch Lunch before Christmas because my schedule in the next weeks is going to be a bit hectic, so I'm really sorry about that. Now, because this is my last segment, I wanted to do like a summary of some sort. Now, because my job here is to promote Poland and Polish board gamers and designers and publishers and what fun, energetic people we are, or tend to be, I decided to do like a top 5 games designed and or developed by Polish people. I mean, Polish designers, Polish publishers. Now, I don't have a lot of time, so let's get to it. My number 5 is a bit of a cheat because this game is not available to you yet to buy. This is Valhalla by Łukasz Woźniak. It just finished its Kickstarter campaign, very successful one, so it's going to be available to you next year. A quick, fun, highly dynamic Viking game, hand management, dice chucking. There's just a lot to love. I know Sam did a review of it recently and he gave it an 8.5 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10, I'm not sure, but he really liked it. So I strongly recommend you check out Sam's review. This is just a very good Viking game, and I strongly recommend it. Once it comes out in stores, be sure to check it out. My number 4, a game that's actually been mentioned on a few Dice Tower lists recently. Cool dudes on a map type game, currently one of my favorite dudes on a map type game. Lords of Hellas by Adam Kwapiński. Now, I like the theme of it. The way I always understood the theme was that Greek gods weren't actual gods, they were just aliens who came from a far more advanced planet than Earth. And because they came and visited ancient Greeks, the ancient Greeks didn't know any better, so they just assumed they were gods. I just kind of like that idea of it. And I really like the game. The theme, the production quality, the free ways to winning. I recently almost won by one turn by completely ignoring area control and just focusing on defeating monsters. And I was this close. And I love it about that game. I love it that you can ignore that aspect of it, one of the aspects of it, if you don't care for it too much. Great one, Lords of Hellas. Number 3, another small cheat, because this is a game that's a re-implementation of sorts, reskin of sorts. Now, I was never a huge fan of Neuroshima Hex. I like it, I think it's a very good game, but I never got into it. I never became obsessed with it. I don't collect all the armies, all the expansions, but I do like it. So when I played Monolith Arena, it just spoke to me on a different level. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the monolith mechanics. I don't know if it's the better, more clear production design, the bigger tokens. Something about it just made it pop to me all that much more. And this is why I like it. I like it more than Neuroshima. I actually might become obsessed with this one. Tactics, strategy, all of it. I just love it. Monolith Arena by Michał Orasz. My number 3. My number 2. Currently my all-time favorite escape room type game. Escape Tales: The Awakening. Now, why? There's one very simple reason. Every escape room type game tries to have a story, and that story is rarely palpable, let alone sometimes it doesn't even make sense. But in this one, you actually feel the story, you feel the emotions, you're invested in the story, you're invested in the characters, the choices you make sense both as a puzzle and story-wise. So they pulled it off. They aimed for it, they tried it, and they actually pulled it off. Huge congratulations, Board and Dice. Escape Tales by Matt Dembeck and many. There are a few authors, but Matt Dembeck, a close friend of mine, is one of the authors of the story behind the game. So huge congratulations for this one. Now, my number 1. I just love crime stories. So obviously, Detective, a modern crime board game by Ignacy Trzewiczek. I don't have a lot of time. I'm watching the clock run out. This is just a great crime story where you actually feel like you're one of the detectives trying to figure out who done it. Love it. My favorite Polish game of the year, Detective, a modern crime board game. And quickly, to all of you, from me, on behalf of the entire crew of Geek Factor, have a very happy holidays, happy Merry Christmas, all the best for New Year. I just hope that all your dreams come true for you and that you develop yourself and develop your relationships in the exact way you want them to develop and that you grow in the exact way you want to grow. I truly, honestly wish all the best for you. Thank you. And in Polish it's Wesołych Świąt i Szczęśliwego Nowego Roku. Thank you very much and bye-bye.
Hey gamers, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and I'm here to bring you another episode of Solo-Thrash, Amerithrash gaming for those of us who like to play alone. Except that this episode's not very Amerithrashy at all, because what I want to talk to you about is Obsession. It's designed by Dan Halligan, and it's a game that is set in Victorian England. In a game of Obsession, you're managing your pool of servants and your hand of cards that represent your family members and friends in order to update your English country estate, bring your family back to its former glory, and perhaps win the heart of one of those sexy, sexy Fairchild heirs. The game is mostly centered around acquiring new estate tiles, so building up your estate, and then hosting events on those tiles in order to bring yourself benefits such as money, extra prestige, or the ability to invite extra friends into your hand. The game is also, however, punctuated by some special events such as village fairs and also by courtship rounds where you tally up your victory points so far in various areas of estate development, and then you compare those with what the Fairchild heirs are interested in terms of courtship. If you win a courtship, you get some bonus victory points, but you actually also get to use one of the Fairchild cards for the next rounds, or set of rounds actually, until the next courtship, because it represents them coming to visit you, pay you a visit, maybe flirt with your kids a little bit, and see if a marriage is going to happen. This game comes with a really cool solo AI mode where you can actually choose from a number of different families to compete against. So you can compete against families with different base victory point totals. However, they also offer you a variable game because those families have different stats for their own estate developments per courtship round throughout a game. So you can try a number of different games against a number of different opponents, even when you're playing by yourself. The other thing that's particularly special about Obsession is its flavor text. If you're like me and you went through a phase where you read all of the Austen and all of the Bronte when you were a kid, as well as a number of, less classy romance novels, you're going to really love this game because the flavor text is awesome. It's so funny. You can pull American heiresses from the deck who give you a lot of money, but then decrease your prestige because hanging out with them is just not classy enough for everybody else. Or you can actually pull these old dowager ladies who have this really high prestige ranking, and you have to get your reputation up to a certain level before you can actually invite them to do stuff on your estate. It's very thematic. It's one of the most flavorful Euro-style games that I've played in a while, and I'm just really enjoying it. So if that's the sort of thing that sounds good to you, I highly recommend it. If a BBC special comes on TV and you feel dread, maybe not. But if you like this time period and this kind of literature, definitely give it a look. Happy gaming!
Hi everyone, I'm Doug Jr.
And I'm Doug the Third.
And you're watching a Fellowship of Meeples with Doug and Doug Gaming. Well, by the time you see this, our American holiday called Thanksgiving will be over. However, I think that worldwide, it's really a good idea for us to all have an attitude of thankfulness year-round.
And in this particular episode, we want to share with you a very important story that involves the gaming community.
Something that we're all thankful for. Earlier this month, there was a fundraising event for an organization called Extra Life. Now, our local game store, the Game Masters Guild here in Crestview, Florida, participated by hosting a 24-hour gaming session. This accommodated board gamers, video gamers, RPGers, and during this time, they raised several $100s for this organization, Extra Life.
Extra Life uses this money actually to go towards a thing called the Miracle Children's Network, and that in turn actually funds children's hospitals all over the United States.
It was 6 years ago, almost to the day, that my oldest daughter Tabitha and her husband Kevin had to go to the hospital in Phoenix, Arizona. And Tabitha was having some serious troubles with her pregnancy at the time. And later that evening, we got a call all the way here in Florida that Tabitha was unconscious due to preeclampsia. Things were very serious, and there was actually a real possibility that we might lose both her and the baby.
While we were all here, there was lots of crying and praying, and needless to say, we were scared. And while we were all home, Dad and Mom actually went ahead and immediately bought tickets and flew out to Arizona to be there for them.
Well, my wife and I got there as quick as we could. When we got there, we found that they had taken the baby via C-section and that Tabitha had regained consciousness. Now, this was good, except that our troubles weren't over. You see, little baby Charlotte had some other problems. They found that her intestines were all knotted up. It had created an impassable blockage, and so at the ripe old age of 1 day old, they rushed her into emergency major surgery.
We are so grateful for the Phoenix Children's Hospital, because that's where my niece was, and it is honestly one of, if not the best children's hospital in the world. And as good as they are, she was fighting for her life for the next 30 days in the neonatal unit at the Phoenix Hospital.
So during this time of Thanksgiving, our family is truly thankful for a lot of things. We are thankful to God for answering our prayers. We are thankful that there are organizations like the Miracle Children's Network, like the Extra Life organization that help fund hospitals like the Phoenix Children's Hospital, and they were incredible. We are so thankful that the doctors and nurses, the entire staffs were there and able to help out with our situation when we had need. We're also thankful to some of our gamer friends because, it's people like you that care about other people that participate in events like this and truly make a difference. So we are so thankful for many of you.
And now we are so thankful that we can play games with Charlotte. We can play games like Scythe, Terraforming Mars, and Pandemic.
Yeah.
But Grandpa, I want to play Elephant's Trunk.
Elephant's Trunk again? Okay. Well, we are thankful. And I hope that you're thankful too. And we're thankful that you've been watching this episode of A Fellowship of Meeples. So for now, I'm Doug Jr.
And I'm Doug the Third.
From Doug and Doug Gaming. We'll see you next time.
Hi guys, I'm Jona and I'm almost a gamer. And I have some advice for you hardcore gamers on how to get your spouses to play games with you. The first piece of advice is to check your timing before you ask someone to play a game with you. For example, never ask them when they're drinking their first cup of coffee in the morning, when they're in the middle of cooking dinner, when they're taking a shower. Make sure that you ask them right after you've cleaned their car out for them. This would be a perfect time because they will feel relieved and a little indebted.
Sam, Tom, whoever's in charge over there, you guys need to stop letting my wife do these videos for you. When I wanted her to get more involved in the board game hobby, this was not what I had in mind. She's buying microphones and props, and she's out doing videos all the time. She doesn't have time to hang out and play board games anymore.
Watching the Token Punch Lunch, and I hope that you have better luck in the new year with your spouse, loved one, roommate, or friend playing games with you.
Hey folks, welcome back to another segment here on Token Punch Lunch. And the reason I don't really have a name for this segment, or there wasn't even an intro or anything like that, is because I don't really know what to call this segment. It's something that I just wanted to show you. So maybe this is Sam's show and tell? Well, anyway, here's what I wanted to show you. Got Heroes of Blackreach. Now, for all of you guys that are out there that have backed the Kickstarter and you haven't got your copy of it, I sincerely sympathize with you, and the corporate guys do as well. I talked to Stefan at PAX U, and he's really kind of beside himself with how long this is taking to get out to you guys. Now, I also wanted to share this with you. They did not send this to me. This was a gift from a friend of mine that lives up in Atlanta, Georgia. You know who you are, and thank you so much. But he saw this in his local game store. How they got it, I have no idea. But here's the thing. A friend of mine bought this for me because he knew I was really looking forward to it, and he knew that there was they were just having difficulty fulfilling everything. So as far as I know, it's on the way, guys. So please just hold on and hold on to your hats. It's on the way. But a friend of mine bought this for me. He also found a package of the Ultramarine reinforcements and the Auric reinforcements as well. So what I want to do here, I don't have a whole lot of time. I want to show you some of this stuff, and so let's get to it. So as we're diving in, we don't have a lot of time here, so we got to get in here. And so you have the rule book, you have a scenario book in here as well. Now the rules are, generally speaking, basically just like Heroes of Normandy. You guys probably know that, but just the scenario book and all these different things that are coming in here as well. So there's a lot of cool stuff there. The round tracker and all of these double-sided boards are really cool. I like the artwork that's here. Just a lot of devastation, I guess. It's probably not the best property value or anything like that as far as this is concerned, but hey, a lot of craters, a lot of blown up buildings and that type of stuff. These are all very indicative of the 40K universe. Just a lot of destruction and some walls and buildings, but not a whole lot because they've all basically been blown up. And then you have all of this goodness in here. Now I'm using plastic bags, and this is the original box insert that's coming in here, but I'm probably going to take that out, especially when I get these two guys opened up. I'm going to have to use it, all that kind of stuff. But just really neat stuff. It has a lot of neat things that are going on in here, all of the different dice encounters. This is one of the things that I was missing in the drop zone, so I'm very glad that they came out with those. And here are the orc ones, and so you have your own dice and so forth. So there's just a lot of cool stuff. I'll give you a closer idea of all of this. In my excitement, I punched all this out, and so sorry about that, but let's look at the reinforcements. So first of all, we have the Ultramarines reinforcements, and so let's go ahead and get this open. All right, so here we go. The Ultramarine reinforcements. That plastic was rather iffy, but all right, so you have the reinforcements. Reinforce Ultramarines. I guess that's French. Yeah. All right, so it comes with a scenario, Sicarius. That's cool. A little bit of an explanation on all the different things that come in. All right, so that's cool. Oh, there's two of them. Two scenarios, one right here and one right there. Very awesome. All right, so we have an Annihilator, another Dreadnought, looks like a Devastator Squad, Tryon, Brother Praebian, a Vindicator tank, another Rhino here, a Tactical Squad, Vandar. So a lot of good stuff here. Another Predator, Predator B, another Rhino here, Assault Squad, Zion. Ooh, another Land Raider. Awesome. Those are expensive, though. Here's the Land Raider and Terminator Squad. So now we have the Orc reinforcements, and we're going to get this open. It's going to take a while, so I'm going to have to do a fade here, probably. So yeah, we got it open again, and we're going to take a look at this. Come on out there. All right, Orc reinforcements, same thing as the Ultramarine ones. You have a description of it, a little grot or squig there. Zanzag. And then final confrontation there. So we have deployment zone for the Marines, and then deployment zone for the Orcs over there. So let's see here. Sneaky Filthies. Sneaky Filthies. All right, that's cool. And then we have a Blitz Bomber. Ooh. That's cool. Over here we have the Son of Mork, or the Sons of Mork, Gorgonaut, Knobs, and a Gorgork. Looks like a boss. And this is a Gorgonaut right here. So this is like a huge mech. Awesome. And then a Morkanaut. All right, so the two Sons of Gork and Sons of Mork. All right, gotcha. And last here we have a Gretchen Mob, another Battle Wagon. Where's that Battle Wagon? Here it is, right there. All right, very cool. So these reinforcements are awesome. So that's just really cool. So psyched to get this to the table. Haven't been able to yet. Wanted to during the retreat, but it's a big game and it's only a 2-player game, so we kind of had for space issues to just kind of say nay. So there we have that. But anyway, I will be letting you know as soon as this hits the table. Believe me. So without further ado, let's get back to the rest of your lunch.
Hey everyone, this is Tim Jennette the Metal Meeple, and this is the Budget Board Game Breakdown. So in this episode, we're going to talk about a game that I don't own, but I've played it a lot recently, and that is Trap Words by CGE. I believe it just came out not too long ago. It's about $20 on Cool Stuff. You can get it for about $20 retail, but $15 on Cool Stuff. But the reason I'm putting it on this Budget Board Game Breakdown is that it's a game that you can actually proxy in a limited form without anything at all. You don't have any cards, you just have pen and paper. So let me explain how Trap Words works first, because I believe it's kind of a variant on like maybe a public domain game. I don't really know for sure. Correct me in the comments below if you know, but Basically, in trap words, you have two teams fighting against each other, or trying to race against each other to go through this dungeon of 7 stages to get to the end and fight the boss. Now, thematically, it sounds really cool, like a dungeon crawl. It's not anything like that. It's a party game in which case both teams are they have a clue giver trying to get their team to guess certain words, much like code names and stuff like that. The difference here is that you're actually designing trap words to catch the other team in the act, basically. So, one round will start like this. Both teams will draw a card from this huge deck of word cards. Each one has a bunch of words on it, and you're going to take this other book that you're going to close to put you put the word card inside of it, and it has a cutout that will reveal one word. Say it reveals the word screwdriver. So that's the card that we're going to give to the other team to start their clue giving and everything. But wherever they are in the actual dungeon, so stage 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, the number that they're at is how many traps words we get to create. So with screwdriver, we might talk and it might be like, let's make it tool. But you know the game and what you're supposed to do, so you're going to use a lot of colloquial words or alternate meaning words and things like that, so maybe tool's too easy. But they know that you know that, and so they might say, he's not going to write down tool because it's too easy of a word. They're going to write down something like, apparatus or something, right? So you're trying to outsmart the other team. So you write down as many trap words as you're allowed for that round, and then you will wait for the other team to finish, and then you swap words, and then one team will go at a time. One person on that team will be a clue giver for the round. They have no clue what the word is ahead of time. You say start. We did a minute. I think the game's timer comes with a 30-second, which is brutal. But we did a minute. You flip over the thing and you start talking. You're like, okay, this is a thing that you would use in order to combine two pieces of wood together with a little metal piece that has threads in it. The thing you can't do any kind of gestures. It's just speaking. But you see what I'm saying. You start talking or whatever. The other team's listening in. They have all their trap words on here. They're listening for you to say it. Only the clue giver can actually set off the trap, not the guesses from their teammates. They have 5 guesses in total. They either get it or they don't, or they're trapped. If they get it, they get to advance to the next stage, so they're on stage 2. If they fail, they stay where they're at. And that's pretty much the game. The next team would go do the same thing, and that would be one full round. And then you would, flip new cards out to each other and design new traps based on the fact that now you're on stage 2, so everybody gets 2 trap words. If you fall behind, obviously you still have the same amount of traps based on the spot you're in, not necessarily, you don't keep going with the round count or anything like that. First player to get to the final round will defeat the bad guy or whatever. There's some tiebreakers, but if you want to play the game in a limited form without owning it, at least to try it out and have some fun, you don't need any of this, right? So all you need to do is have a piece of paper and you can design the word. You want to make it common. That's the only good thing about having a deck of cards to decide the word for you. But you could just make up a word on each team, design the trap words, and on paper keep track of how far through the dungeon each other is. And that's it. Now, the benefit of having the actual game is it does have these curse cards that come out on the different stages. And one of them might be like, you also get trapped if you say any words that begin with the letter S as the clue giver, not as the guessers. Stuff like that. Or it might be you have to close your eyes the whole time, all your teammates when you're guessing. And that makes it difficult because you're trying to visualize and see what this person's saying, the way they emphasize it with their mouth and everything. But when you close your eyes, it's like you lose all that. It's crazy. I didn't think it would be as difficult. It's not super difficult, but it is kind of an interesting little twist on it. So it's a fantastic game. You can play it without anything. Definitely check out the rule book if you can find it online, probably on Boardgame Geek or the website. And, you can read the rules and you can proxy the game if you have something like Crosstalk. Crosstalk has tons of words in this deck that you could use for this purpose. But I do highly suggest supporting the company and purchasing the game if you do like it. But it is nice to have a try before you buy. Print and plays are always nice, right? So if you played it, let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me at timjennette@gmail.com. Follow me on social media at the handle below. Check out my podcast called Meeple Core. And until next time, keep on rocking and rolling dice.
Hey, welcome to Token Punch Lunch. My name is Bobby, and this is These Totally Geeky Games, where I make recommendations of games for those geeky friends of ours with interests outside of our hobby. I'm actually recording this video 2 days after my birthday, and I'm in the midst of wrapping a bunch of Christmas gifts outside, so I have to do a really quick video so that I could go back out and finish wrapping up gifts for different people for Christmas, but it did get me to thinking about gifts that you could give people and maybe games that you could give as gifts to people, and especially even if they're the geeky friends of yours with interests outside of our hobby that may not play games all the time, what games could you give them that they would really enjoy? So I thought of games that are really quick, simple to teach, but fun to play, and I came up with a couple of recommendations. The first recommendation I have is a new game called Lady and the Tiger. Lady and the Tiger is basically a small box with a bunch of cards and some beads, and it actually contains a few different games. There's a social deduction game in there that you use with those components. There's a two-person abstract game that you could use with those components, and a few others, and all of these games are really simple. Usually the instructions for those games are 2 pages of the little pamphlet or the rule book that you get in the game. They're really simple, but they're all pretty fun to play. So I would recommend Lady and the Tiger will be a great gift to give to really anybody this holiday season. Another gift that I would recommend is really any of the games from the company Quick Simple Fun Games. Just like their namesake, all of their games are really quick and they're really simple, but they're also really fun. So they have games like Celestia, they have games like Muse, really any of those games. Those two, especially, the artwork is really incredible, and they're really fun. And in my experience, at least, they're great games to give as gifts. They're great games to receive as gifts. So while you're thinking about the last minute gifts that you could give to people, I'd recommend giving those games a try. Anyway, my name is Bobby, and this has been These Totally Geeky Games on Token Punch Lunch. Bye. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Hello, welcome to Boardgame Opinions. My name is Jonathan Hicks.
I'm Steve Rain.
And I'm Mark Windle. And our flavour of the month this month is Pretty Darn Clever is the English version, although it doesn't seem to have an English version. I think it's difficult to find this. But Ganz schön clever might be the German title, which is, to be honest, more well known as that really, isn't it?
I think it might.
It's essentially a roll and write. So on your turn, you get these 6 colourful dice and you roll them, and you're picking dice to add to the sheet in various ways. The interesting thing here, though, is whichever dice you pick, you lose all the dice that are lower than that. So I could choose to go for this blue 3, but then I would lose the white 1. So maybe I do that, I pick the 3, and I would write on the blue area using my 3. I'll explain how that works in a second. And then I'd roll all the rest of the dice. And this time I might want to take the yellow 3, but that means I'm going to lose the green 1 and the purple 2. So and then I use this dice, put it here, and then finally I'm going to be rolling just the 1 dice here, and you're adding, at the end of the day, 3 dice you're going to be picking onto your sheet, and 3 dice are not going to be used. Now what are you doing with all these numbers that you've written? Well, effectively you're just trying to score as many points as you can, but there are different sections. So for example, in the yellow section, if you roll, let's say a 3, there are a couple of 3s here, and you just cross them off. And if you complete a column, or you complete a row, then columns give you points, and rows let you put crosses in other areas. Oranges, for example, you actually write the number in, and the bigger the numbers are, effectively you're getting points for the numbers in orange, so they're just kind of racking up. Purples are a similar idea, but when you write a purple number, the next purple number has to be bigger than the one before, but if you get 6, it kind of resets it, and you get to start again from 1. There's various different ways of scoring, but effectively you're just writing the different coloured numbers, if you like, or doing the crosses in the different areas. Now, the interesting thing, I suppose, which we're probably going to talk about together in a minute, is that there's a lot of interconnectivity. So, for example, I was saying if you complete one of the rows in yellow, this top row, for example, lets you put a cross in the blue section. And if you complete one of the columns in blue, you get a +1, which lets you use one of the dice like an extra time. Now, the other interesting thing is that when you've finished rolling your dice, you kind of pass them on to the next person, and they take their turn, they roll the dice, and they pick 3 of them. And I was saying there's going to be 3 dice that haven't been used. Well, I now get to pick one of the dice that haven't been used and add them onto my sheet as well, which is really nice because then every time someone else is taking a turn, you're watching them thinking, oh, I really need an orange dice this time. Are they going to leave me with the orange one? And so you're kind of invested, which is nice. But at the end of the day, once you've done a sort of certain number of rounds, you count up all your points, and the most points wins. What do we think?
It's a really good game. First time I played it, I scored really low, and I think, what's going on here? And then I played it again, and then you find the combos. You find, I can take a yellow 6, which gets me a green cross, which gets me a blue cross, which gets me that there, which puts a 5 there, and you can do lots of things on one turn. It feels like one of those Euro games where you get lots of bonus actions, which I really like. And there are foxes as well, so what you can't do is just concentrate on one or two colours. Always get all yellows and blues, because your foxes are actually high scoring as well. Basically, the fox will score you the value of your lowest coloured grid. So if your green is your lowest and green scores you 10, well then every other fox scores you 10 as well. So if you get several foxes and you can kind of bring up the lowest scoring colour, those foxes do quite well for you.
I love the fact that about halfway through the game you're still looking at your sheet and going, there's no way I'm going to fill this.
Yeah.
And then those last few dice, you're like, it just explodes. It goes crazy, and it makes for a much more entertaining game because you feel it build up from that slow start. It just as it gathers pace, it's just more enjoyable. So it makes you, as soon as you finish the game, you go, we could just do this again, you know, because it doesn't take very long.
Yeah, it's
nice, easy. Once you've explained the rules and somebody's gone through it once, really simple to know what's doing. Because you're always invested, it's really fun. I think it was our pick for the Kaczmarek and the Spiel that it was in, and we were really.
Yeah.
It was the one we went.
It was our favourite game, I think. Yeah, it wasn't the one I thought was win, but it was my favourite of the nominees.
It feels like the interesting parts of a Euro, all the interconnected mechanics, kind of condense into a really short space.
And there's stuff for you to do on other people's turn as well.
Yes, that's right. Works really well.
Yeah,
great package. So I'd highly recommend this one. That was our flavour of the month. Ganz schön clever.
Hey everybody, Even Steven here. I want to congratulate Jordan Booth on winning my promo contest for last week, so I'll get those sent out to you soon. But today we're going to look at some games that maybe you could get for someone for Christmas, or maybe even ask for yourself. First, we're going to look at some family games that you can really play with anyone, no matter their experience with the board game hobby. We have Reef, and this one you are having these chunky coral plastic tiles that you're laying out on a board, and you're using these cards to play them out on the board in certain configurations to try to get you the most points. We have Drop It. This is a dexterity game where you have this plastic base and you're dropping these wooden pieces down onto the board, trying to stack them the highest and not try to touch certain things, trying to gain the most points. We have Fireball Island. In this one you have a 3D molded plastic island that you are playing with, flicking marbles, trying to hit your opponents while you yourself are trying to gain treasure and then get off on the helicopter. We have Mars Open Tabletop Golf. In this one you are flicking a little paper card golf ball towards a hole. There's modular tools with trees and mountains and different things that you can build and try to create your own course. And finally we have The Mind. This is a small card game, kind of like a social experiment where you're trying to play cards cooperatively from 1 to 100, and you have to read your opponent's and your cooperative teammates' minds to try to play them in order without talking. Let's get to some games for people who do play a lot of games. Next we're going to get to some games for experienced board gamers who are familiar with the board game hobby. First, we have Architects of the West Kingdom. This is a worker placement game where you're setting your workers out, and as you go to these different spots, your actions are going to get better and better throughout the game. And there's also this unique mechanic where you can actually capture opponents' workers on your player board. Next, we have Scythe, the Rise of Fenris. This adds a campaign and module system to the popular game Scythe, and you can either add it together, just in different components and modules that you want to add right away, or you can do it in a kind of story campaign system if you play with the same game group often. Really fun experience. Next we have Rising Sun. This is a really great area control game with giant miniatures and a really cool action selection mechanism, and you're making alliances with different people. Really good area control game here. We have Coimbra. This is a Euro game where you're drafting dice, and where the color of the dice as well as the pips on the dice matter when you're drafting these cards and then moving on a map, moving up different tracks to try to gain the most points. Then we have Between Two Castles. This is a game where you're working semi-cooperatively, and I like this one because it's for 3 to 7 players, so it can fit a lot of different people around the table, and you're building these tiles with your castles or the person next to you, but yet you're still competing with everyone trying to get different bonuses. Okay everybody, those are some of my game suggestions for Christmas this year. Hopefully this can help you fill out that Christmas list, or maybe even add some to your own. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Hey folks, welcome to another Starting Tile episode. This is continuing my list of tips that you should consider if you're teaching gateway games to new players. And today, this is an obvious one to some people. There's generally a category of games where even if you're not a fan of the category, they will at least say, oh yeah, this is the category of games you should go for teaching players. And it's not party games. No, I'm talking about co-ops. Co-op games are just the prime candidate for teaching new players. Why is that? Well, because you eliminate the one key aspect of games that could put off, new players.
There's the bell for the opening round, and Rocky Balboa comes out of the center ring. Got the Russian right back in the Balboa's corner now.
Getting the snot beaten out of them. Because, if we've played games loads, we play a competitive game with them. It's difficult to actually sort of hold yourself back or get them to accept, look, I'm going to destroy you probably at this game, but, at least you'll get the rules. And this can irk a few people. Some people can get angry, some people get a little bit mopey, depressed, when they lose a game, or they just get put off by the fact that they wanted to sit down for a bit of fun and then they are just destroyed, and it can put off people. I've seen it happen. So why do co-ops work? Because you're helping them. There is no, oh, you got beaten down by yourself, well, you lose, haha. Nope, it's everybody wins or everybody loses. And I'm not talking about semi-co-op here, okay? Get rid of that. I'm talking about proper co-op games. So, we all win, we all lose. Somebody might be struggling with the rules, but then you just come along and say, right, let me help you with these rules. Because at the end of the day, you want to win as a group. So it's your incentive to help them, and they feel like they're a part of something. They feel like they're a part of the group and that they're contributing to the game. So what co-op games are perfect for this? Because not every single co-op game is a gateway game. But, granted, a lot of the stuff on my wall behind me is not probably co-ops, but that's only because I don't own a lot of co-op gateway games. But, I certainly do recommend them. So let me think. I've got Forbidden Desert is down there. Perfect. Forbidden Island, Forbidden Desert works perfectly. Flashpoint Fire Rescue I've got up there. Another great contender. Mysterium, you want to call that a party game, it's up to you, but that is a co-op and that works really well. Shadows of a Camelot, there is a traitor mechanic, but you can play without it, and to be fair, the traitor mechanic is not all that bad, just hope that the new player doesn't get it, really. There's definitely other ones around, I'm just trying to think of them off the top of my Unusual Suspects, it's the theme is kind of risque, but it's technically a co-op. It can work, I've got no problem with that. And Pandemic, of course, who can forget Pandemic, the worldwide phenomenon of co-op games. Now, these work perfectly, and I've done it with LCGs before, Lord of the Rings and Arkham Horror the card game. If you think they can get into something a bit more heavier, then the LCGs are a good one, especially the co-op ones, because you give them a deck. You know how it works, but you help them pilot the deck, because at the end of the day, you want them to win. And it just improves the mood all round, and I've always found these to be the best way to teach gateway games to new players, especially those who are a bit uncertain about the hobby. One caveat though. Don't be the alpha player, okay? Just because you're guiding them through the co-op game does not mean that you have to turn into those alpha gamers who dictate everything they should do. Okay, so should I maybe move my guy to here and do this? No, you want to do this, right? Okay, go. And it's like, do not become that guy.
Don't do that.
It irks me when I see that in co-op games. It is the wrong way to teach co-op games, and honestly, as much as I said that you can put people off by beating them into submission, you can also put people off if you are that player who basically just dictates everything they should do and they don't feel that they contributed or are part of the group. They're just there to go through the motions and fill up a table space. Not fun. I've been in that situation, and trust me, does not help. So that's it for me. Basically this tip is just to try co-op games. You may not be a fan of them, but trust me, they do work. And obviously, I suppose if you hate co-ops, you're not going to go after them anyway. But for those of you that enjoy a co-op or haven't tried them before, definitely look into them. They work wondrously for teaching new players how to get into our great hobby. And then once they're comfortable with games, then you can bring out the competitive one and start beating them into submission. Whatever you want to do. Just hope that just take it civil, okay? So that's it from me. I'll see you on the next episode of The Starting Tile. And from me, enjoy your lunch, and I hope to see you again. Take care, guys.
So that's that for another episode of Token Punch Lunch. I want to thank all of you for joining us here for just a brief few moments. Well, maybe it wasn't that brief, but hey, thanks for sticking around and thanks for watching. We certainly appreciate it. You guys are why we do what we do in providing this content for you, because we want to share what we like, what we dislike, and we want to know what you guys have to say as well. So if you have any comments or suggestions or anything like that, or even criticism, keep it friendly. Let us know in the comments section, and we will appreciate you communicating with us, and we'll do the best we can to do that right back at you. So, thanks so much for joining us. Thank you, my contributors, for all the work that you put into your segments each and every episode. I certainly appreciate it, and just know that it does not go unnoticed, all the work that you do. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas, everyone, and if I don't see you, Happy New Year. Take care. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side.
Fatality.